Hello everyone, hope you are all doing well, and so is myself. So my name is Kaushik Chowdhury and welcome to this channel. And in this lecture I'll be teaching how to create an ASP.NET 6 web API using Entity Framework Core, and we will be using the minimal API, that is just one program file which has got the startup as well as the program file of the earlier versions, and I'll be able to show you how to create it using Entity Framework Core and with code first approach. Okay, so let's switch over to Visual Studio now. So on to Visual Studio 2022, I will click on create a new project. So when the recent project templates load, I'll click on ASP.NET Core Web API. You can see an ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. So this was the last one that I used. So I'll click on next. I've already highlighted this and click on next, and we'll give it a suitable name. Say ASP.6 Web API demo, and put it in the location that you'd like to, and I'll just keep it unticked and click on next. So here I've got two choices on the framework, .NET 6, so I'll go for .NET 6, and you can see that .NET Core 3.1 it still has the long-term support, but .NET Core 5 or .NET 5 is no more there, okay, because it has come out of its support by Microsoft. And I will go for configure for HTTPS. I don't want enable Docker, so I'm not using any Docker containers here. And this is enable Open API support is unticked because I don't want Swagger, which is Postman type of package integrated with Microsoft project. If you tick this box, so if you wish to test your API using Swagger, which I'm not going to do in this particular lecture, so I will untick that and use controllers and uncheck to use minimal APIs. So because I wish to create the minimal APIs, but I still wish to use controllers, so that's why I'm ticking this box and then click on create to create the application for me. Now this ASP.NET 6 Web API demo is created for me on Visual Studio 2022, and I have got a templated project with a few folders like controllers, properties, and the controller has got a minimal weather forecast controller, and I would like to put a home controller, which I will come to soon. And this is my appsettings.json. Here put my connection string. All right, and you've got this program file, which I hope all of you are aware of. What is the program file doing? Okay, it is the main entry point, and this is the weather forecast.cs file. This is the class which Microsoft has put it integrated into the this template, so that it shows the weather forecast as a generic web API endpoint. Now first thing that I will do is to install a few packages. So click on right click the project node and click on manage nuget packages. So there is some installed, and I will look for a package known as Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. Entity Framework core, searching, and that's right, and then click on latest table for ASP.NET Core 6, install it, click on OK, click on accept. So I've got this Microsoft.Entity Framework core already installed through NuGet package. Now I will tell you another way of doing it, that is through clicking on tools and NuGet package manager and package manager console. Now since I have to install a few more packages, NuGet packages, I will come back after installing them through the this PM console, package manager console, but I will show you what those packages are. So the first package is this Microsoft.Entity Framework core.tools. So I'll click on hit and it will successfully already installed the other package, Microsoft.Entity Framework core. Okay, and Microsoft.Entity Framework core.tools is already installed with this. Okay, and then I'll have to install another package which is Microsoft.Entity Framework core.SQL Server. So I will just click on, I have got it on the my clipboard. I will just copy it here and then paste it, hit enter, and it will install the Entity Framework core.SQL Server. So I've got 3 of these installed framework, which is sufficient for me to work with the, this Entity Framework core with ASP.NET Core. But there is a 4th package also which I will install and I'll come back. So the last one was Microsoft.Visual Studio.Web.CodeGeneration.Design. Now you can very much verify these package references are added in the item group tab under the project file. So all of these 3 plus 1, 4 packages are added. So next we will create a models folder. So right click and add. So in the models folder we'll create a customer model. So right click, add class, so this is the customer class in which there will be a few public properties like ID, first name, last name, contact and email. Okay, so the pro tip is how to create a public property. Just write prop and then tab. Okay, so then you change it to ID, now I have completed my customer class and it has got these 4 fields: first name, last name, contact and email. Okay, next what we'll do is we'll add a data context class that implements the DbContext. Okay, and we'll name it application DbContext. So accordingly we'll create a folder named context here in the project root, add new folder, context, and right click and add a class. Name this application DbContext, which derives from, which implements the DbContext class. Now this red squiggly line says that I have not added a namespace which is using Microsoft.Entity Framework core. Now I have added this, so this squiggly line is gone. So here we'll write a constructor. So another pro tip, ctor and tap public application DbContext. Now here, this one I will supply a dependency injection of DbContext options. With the generic T, and that is the application DbContext. Okay, application DbContext, and call this object options, or one of the suggested options. So DbContext options as a dependency object, I'm passing to the constructor of this class application DbContext, and then this one, it implements a base class options, base options automatically. It is so great nowadays, Visual Studio 2022, that it uses artificial intelligence, and then tab to complete this. Okay, so this part is over. Now here I'll introduce a public DB set. Again, prop tab. So this one will be rather than integer, it is DB set. And this is DB set on customer. So a DB set T entity can be used to query and save instance of T entity. So this will be our customer table, and I'll call this, because this is protesting because I'm not using ASP.NET 6, that is a project name .models folder. So I'll bring the models folder in the using statement. So now it's all right, and I'll call this customers, okay, by convention, and then save the file. Okay, next we'll go to the appsettings.json file and put a default connection string, which I already had copied on my clipboard, which is default connection, and this is a fresh database that we are going to make. So I have referred the database name as EF-core test DB with all this allied stuff within the connection string. And what it will do is, I will show in one of the next steps that how it will generate the database, and also within that generated database entity framework core test DB, it will also create the customers table. All right. The next step is to switch over from app settings to program file. So I've opened this, and we'll make some changes over here and here, and we'll do two things. We'll add a code to initialize the connection string in this program.cs. So it is, here below this point, below this code var builder equals web application.create builder, we'll add our context, add our connection string. So just comment. Now for the connection string, the code is so builder.configuration.getConnection string and default connection. Okay, and then ternary operator, 2 question marks. Pagination DB. So what does this right hand side mean? So on the builder object, I'm calling the configuration method of configuration manager, and then I'm calling this extension method get connection string and passing the default connection which was set over here, application appsettings.json. This is the default connection. Whatever name you give, you have to put it in there, default connection, and where the data source is pagination DB. Okay, so that was the data source which we set up here, database, that is the data source. Okay, so now we have created the connection string. Now next is we add the context to the services collection. So we'll add a comment over here, add a context. Remember our earlier days of ASP.NET Core 3.1 and ASP.NET 5 and even previous versions where we used to have a startup class as well, and we have got a configure services method and a configure method. The configure services method was actually we were adding code for it to actually get into the services collection. So add a context to the context to the services collection. So services collection. So what is the code here? Here we will use builder dot services dot add SQL server, because I'm going to use SQL server. Okay, and pass the connection string. Now here I don't have this how it will get the connection string. It will get the connection string by through the project name ASP.NET 6 Web API demo, and dot, this is the context folder, dot application DbContext. Okay, so this part will be within triangular brackets, and then this will have your connection string, and then it gets rid of the any squiggly lines. So this is fine. So we have added a connection string and we have added a context to the services collection, and then save this file. Okay, now let's do the migrations for updating the database, or in this case, because this will be a fresh database, it will create the database. Okay, so the command is so remember I am on the package manager console. Okay, and is the command line for the package manager. So add migration, so you can give it any name. I shall get by with initial create, or you can give the add migration initial as well. It's up to you. Your call. Build started. Now you can see there is a migration folder automatically created. It has got 2 files, the date timestamp initial create.cs, which is actually void up, which is creating the table, customers table, and this one application DbContext model snapshot. This is a snapshot of the things that it will have. All right, so after having created the initial migration, adding the initial migration, the next command is to update the database. Update, yes, you're right, update database, and click enter. Yeah, all these SQL statements are run. So you can see if you refresh the database node, you can see that it has created a EF code test DB with one of the tables being dbo.customer. So if you click on the table to view data, the table doesn't contain any data. The next step is to fill some mock data, dummy data quickly. So I will visit a site called as generatedata.com. So I have generated some random data from generatedata.com by configuring it with Microsoft SQL. Here is the configuration platform, dbo.customers. I have given the database table name. You can change it, and database type Microsoft SQL, statement type insert, and code single. So this is the sort of data that is generated, and I have just, when I click on generate, it generated data, and I have downloaded this, and this data looks like this one. Okay, now I'm going to run this script onto my local MS SQL local DB on this database entity framework code test DB. At the moment I have opened this SQL Server Management Studio, but the same database with all the tables is replicated in my Visual Studio. So here, right, so I am going to run this. I can run this from here also. It's one and the same thing. Now I've inserted the script and got it retrieved. There are 100 rows here. Now the same table data will be showing in here. I think there are many more. So whatever. Now if you open this project here, and if I visit db.customers and view data, it should show all these rows that were visible on SQL Server Management Studio. Now finally, let me close some of these windows. Let me close each and everything, so that's not to close all tabs. Don't say, let me just build it, Control Shift B, and build is up to date. Let's close this. All right, so what I'm going to do is now click on this controllers folder and add a controller. Right click, add controller, and click on API controller with actions using entity framework. Click on add. So model class is just one model, customer, and data context class is, as you know, application DbContext. This is just the one, and the controller name is customer controller, not customers but customer controller, and click on add. Now this has generated with the root API/controller. So controller will be filled with the name of the controller, that is customer. So root will be localhost :port/API/customer. Okay, and it derives from the controller base class. So it has created all the necessary code: get customer, put customer, and get customers, all the customer it will get, and it will get a single customer with ID. But all I need to show you is that, it by running the application and getting all the customers in the API. At the moment, I'm not concerned with all the put and patch and other delete, because in the next lecture, in the next part, I'll be going the showing you the pagination of the customers that are getting returned from the database. So let me click this icon, or you can start without debugging. So let's do this. So by default, you've got this weather forecast. Now, if you keep the proper routing over here, then API/customer you should get all the customers. Brilliant. That's all you needed here. And this is the raw, this is the parsed version, and this is using a JSON formatter, which I have actually installed, and it is somewhere over here in one of those icons. So there is a JSON formatter which is actually formatting it so nicely. So this is the, and if you want to see the raw, this is the raw one, this is the parsed one. So in this lecture, we have seen how to create a web API using Entity Framework Core in ASP.NET 6, and basically we have prepared our grounds, prepared a project to be taken to the next level for showing how you do the pagination in the web API. And I have used generatedata.com to generate some mock data for quick testing. Thanks for visiting this site and viewing this lecture. If you have enjoyed this lecture, please do subscribe to my channel and put your valuable comments. Thank you.